7. Weather, climate, and adaptations of animals to climate. Do you remember the things that you are asked to pack when you were heading for a hill station? When the sky is cloudy, your parents insist that you carry an umbrella. Have you heard elders in your family discuss the weather before planning a family function? You must have also heard the experts discussing the weather before the start of a game. Have you ever wondered why? The weather may have a profound effect on the game. It has a profound effect on our lives. Many of our daily activities are planned based on the weather predicted for the day. There are daily reports of the weather on the television and radio and in the newspapers. But do you know what this weather really is? In this chapter, we will study about the weather and climate. We will also see how different forms of life are adapted to the climate of their habitat. 7.1 Weather. In figure, a sample of weather report from a newspaper is given. We find that the daily weather report carries information about the temperature, humidity, and rainfall during the past 24 hours. It also predicts the weather for the day. Humidity, as you might know, is a measure of the moisture in air. Figure. A sample of a weather report from a newspaper. I wonder who prepares these reports. The weather reports are prepared by the Meteorological Department of the government. This department collects data on temperature, wind, etc. and makes the weather prediction. Activity 7.1 Do this. Cut out the weather reports of the last week from any newspaper. If you do not get a newspaper at home, borrow from your neighbors or friends and copy these reports in your notebook. You can also collect weather reports from a library. Paste all the cutouts on a white sheet or on a chart paper. Now record the information from the weather reports collected by you in table. The first row is just a sample. Fill all the columns according to the data in the chart that you have prepared. Table. Weather data of a week. Date, maximum temperature degree Celsius, minimum temperature degree Celsius, minimum humidity percent, maximum humidity percent, rainfall millimeter. 23/8/2006, 36.2, 27.8, 54, 82. Do this and comment this. Rainfall may not be recorded for all the days since it may not rain every day. Leave the space for rainfall blank if the data is not available. Rainfall is measured by an instrument called the rain gauge. It is basically a measuring cylinder with a funnel on top to collect rainwater. Do all the 7 days have the same maximum and minimum temperatures, humidity, and rainfall? The maximum and minimum temperatures recorded may be the same for some of the days. However, all the parameters are not the same on any 2 days. Over a week, there may be considerable variation. The day-to-day condition of the atmosphere at a place with respect to the temperature, humidity, rainfall, wind speed, etc. is called the weather at that place. The temperature, humidity, and other factors are called the elements of the weather. The weather of a place changes day after day and week after week. That is why we often say, today's weather is too humid or the weather was warm last week. The weather is such a complex phenomenon that it can vary over very short periods of time. It can happen sometimes that it is sunny in the morning, but suddenly clouds appear from nowhere and it starts raining heavily. or a heavy rain may vanish in a matter of minutes and give way to bright sunshine. You must have had several such experiences. Try to recall any such experience and share it with your friends. Since weather is such a complex phenomenon, it is not easy to predict. Look at the graph given below, which shows the maximum temperature recorded during 3rd August 2006 to 9th August 2006 at Shillong, Meghalaya. Figure graph showing the variation of maximum temperature during 3rd to 9 August 2006. Date maximum temperature 386 26 degrees Celsius, 486 23.5 degrees Celsius, 586 25 degrees Celsius, 686 22 degrees Celsius, 786 25.5 degrees Celsius, 886 23.3 degrees Celsius, 986 24.4 degrees Celsius. As it is clear from any weather report, the maximum and minimum temperatures are recorded every day. Do you know how these temperatures are recorded? In chapter 4, you have learned. I wonder why weather changes so frequently. What is the source of weather in the first place? That there are special thermometers for this purpose called maximum and minimum thermometers. Can you guess when during the day we have the maximum temperature and when the minimum? The maximum temperature of the day occurs generally in the afternoon while the minimum temperature occurs generally in the early morning. Can you now understand why in summers we feel so miserable in the afternoon and comparatively comfortable early in the morning? All changes in the weather are caused by the sun. The sun is a huge sphere of hot gases at a very high temperature. The distance of the sun from us is very large. Even then, the energy sent out by the sun is so huge that it is the source of all heat and light on the earth. So the sun is the primary source of energy that causes changes in the weather. Energy absorbed and reflected by the earth's surface, oceans and the atmosphere play important roles in determining the weather at any place. If you live near the sea, you would have realized that the weather at your place is different from that of a place in a desert or near a mountain. What about the times of sunrise and sunset? You know that in winters it become dark early and you do not get much time to play. Are the days shorter in winter than in summer? Try to find it out yourself by completing the project given at the end of the chapter. 7.2 Climate. Meteorologists record the weather every day. The records of the weather have been preserved for the past several decades. This helps us to determine the weather pattern at a place. The average weather pattern taken over a long time, say 25 years, is called the climate of the place. If we find that the temperature at a place is high most of the time, then we say that the climate of the place is hot. If there is also heavy rainfall on most of the days in the same place, then we can say that the climate of that place is hot and wet. In table, and we have given the climatic condition at two places in India. The mean temperature of a given month is found in two steps. First, we find the average of the temperatures recorded during the month. Second, we calculate the average of such average temperatures over many years. That gives the mean temperature. The two places are Srinagar in Jammu and Kashmir and Thiruvananthapuram in Kerala. Table: Srinagar, Jammu and Kashmir. Information about climate. Month mean temperature degree Celsius, daily minimum, daily maximum, mean total rainfall millimeter. January minus 2.3, 4.7, 57. February minus 0.6, 7.8, 65. March 3.8, 13.6, 99. April 7.7, 19.4, 88. May 10.7, 23.8, 72. June 14.7, 29.2, 37. July 8.2, 30, 49. August 17.5, 29.7, 70. September 12.9, 27.8, 33. October 6.1, 21.9, 36. November 0.9, 14.7, 27. December minus 1.6, 8.2, 43. Table Thiruvananthapuram, Kerala. Information about climate. Month. Main temperature degree Celsius. Daily minimum, daily maximum. Mean total rainfall millimeter. January 22.2, 31.5, 23. February 22.8, 31.9, 24. March 24.1, 32.6, 40. April 24.9, 32.6, 117. May 24.7, 31.6, 230. June 23.5, 29.7, 321. July 23.1, 29.2, 227. August 23.2, 29.4, 138. September 23.3, 30, 175. October 23.3, 29.9, 282. November 23.1, 30.3, 185. December 32.6, 31.0, 66. Note the numbers for the mean total rainfall have been rounded off. By looking at tables, and we can easily see the difference in the climate of Jammu and Kashmir and Kerala. We can see that Kerala is very hot and wet in comparison to Jammu and Kashmir, which has a moderately hot and wet climate for a part of the year. Similar data for the western region of India, for example Rajasthan, will show that the temperature is high during most part of the year, but during winter, which lasts only for a few months, the temperature is quite low. This region receives very little rainfall. This is the typical desert climate. It is hot and dry. The northeastern India receives rain for a major part of the year. Therefore, we can say that the climate of the northeast is wet. 7.3 Climate and Adaptation. Climate has a profound effect on all living organisms. Animals are adapted to survive in the conditions in which they live. Animals living in very cold and hot climate must possess special features to protect themselves against the extreme cold or heat. Recall from chapter 9 of your class 6 science book the definition of adaptation. Features and habits that help animals to adapt to their surroundings are a result of the process of evolution. In chapter, you will learn about the effect of weather and climate on soil. Here we will study the effect of climate on animals only. In class 6, you have read about adaptation of animals to certain habitats. As example of adaptation of animals to climatic conditions, we discuss only animals living in polar regions and tropical rainforest. As the name suggests, the polar regions are situated near the poles, that is, North Pole and South Pole. Some well-known countries that belong to the polar regions are Canada, Greenland, Iceland, Norway, Sweden, Finland, Alaska in USA, and Siberian region of Russia. Examples of some countries where the tropical rainforests are found are India, Malaysia, Indonesia, Brazil, Republic of Congo, Kenya, Uganda, and Nigeria. Activity 7.2. Take an outline map of the world. Mark the polar regions in blue. Similarly, mark the tropical regions in red. 1. The polar regions. The polar regions present an extreme climate. These regions are covered with snow and it is very cold for most part of the year. For 6 months the sun does not set at the poles, while for the other 6 months the sun does not rise. In winters the temperature can be as low as -37 degrees Celsius. Animals living there have adapted to this severe condition. Let us see how they are adapted by considering the examples of polar bears and penguins. Polar bears have white fur so that they are not easily visible in the snowy white background. It protects them from their predators. It also helps them in catching their prey to protect them from extreme cold. They have two thick layers of fur. They also have a layer of fat under their skin. In fact, they are so well insulated that they have to move slowly and rest often to avoid getting overheated. Physical activities on warm days necessitate cooling, so the polar bear goes for swimming. It is a good swimmer. Its paws are wide and large, which help it not only to swim well but also walk with ease in the snow. While swimming underwater, it can close its nostril and can remain underwater for long duration. It has a strong sense of smell so that it can catch its prey for food. We can understand the adaptations of polar bears with the help of the flow charts shown in figure. Another well-known animal living in the polar regions is the penguin figure. It is also white and merges well with the white background. It also has a thick skin and a lot of fat to protect it from cold. You may have seen pictures of penguins huddled together. This they do to keep warm. Recall how warm you feel when you are in a hall full of people. Figure penguins huddled together. Its predator and prey are unable to see it. The white fur is not easily visible in the snowy white background. It has a very strong sense of smell. It helps the bear to locate and catch its prey. It has long, curved, and sharp claws. This helps it to walk on ice. It has a layer of fat under its skin. The fat insulates its body from cold and keeps it warm. It has two thick layers of fur. Thus, this keep it warm in cold weather. Figure adaptations of polar bear. Figure feet of penguin. Like polar bears, penguins are also good swimmers. Their bodies are streamlined and their feet have webs, making them good swimmers. Figure. Other animals living in the polar regions are many types of fishes, musk oxen, reindeers, foxes, seals, whales, and birds. It is to be noted that while fish can remain under cold water for long, birds must remain warm to survive. They migrate to warmer regions when winter sets in. They come back after the winter is over. You know probably that India is one of the destinations of many of these birds. You must have seen or heard about the Siberian crane that comes from Siberia to places like Bharatpur in Rajasthan and Sultanpur in Haryana. And some do fishes or butterflies also migrate like birds? Figure migratory birds in their habitat or migratory birds in flight. Did you know some migratory birds travel as much as 15,000 kilometers to escape the extreme climate conditions at home? Generally, they fly high where the wind flow is helpful and the cold conditions allow them to disperse the heat generated by their flight muscles. But how these birds travel to the same place year after year is still a mystery. It seems that these birds have a built-in sense of direction and know in which direction to travel. Some birds probably use landmarks to guide them. Many birds may be guided by the sun during the day and stars are at night. There is some evidence that birds may use the magnetic field of the earth to find direction. And it is not only birds that migrate. Mammals, many types of fish, and insects are also known to migrate seasonally in search of more hospitable climates. Wetlands of northeast and some other parts of India. Figure 2. The tropical rainforest. The tropical rainforest has generally a hot climate because of its location around the equator. Even in the coldest month, the temperature is generally higher than about 15 degrees Celsius. During hot summers, the temperature may cross 40 degrees Celsius. Days and nights are almost equal in length throughout the year. These regions get plenty of rainfall. An important feature of these regions is the tropical rainforest. Tropical rainforests are found in Western Ghats and Assam in India, Southeast Asia, Central America, and Central Africa because of continuous warmth and rain. This region supports a wide variety of plants and animals. The major types of animals living in the rainforest are monkeys, apes, gorillas, tigers, elephants, leopards, lizards, snakes, birds, and insects. Let us read about the adaptation of these animals to a hot, humid climate. The climatic conditions in rainforests are highly suitable for supporting an enormous number and a variety of animals. Since the numbers are large, there is intense competition for food and shelter. Many animals are adapted to living on the trees. Red-eyed frog figure has developed sticky pads on its feet to help it climb trees on which it lives. To help them live on the trees, monkeys figure have long tails for grasping branches. Their hands and feet figure red-eyed frog figure a New World monkey are such that they can easily hold on to the branches. As there is competition for food, some animals are adapted to get food not easily reachable. A striking example is that of the bird toucan figure, which possesses a long, large beak. This helps a toucan to reach the fruits on branches which are otherwise too weak to support its weight. Many tropical animals have sensitive hearing, sharp eyesight, thick skin, and a skin color which helps them to camouflage by blending with the surroundings. This is to protect them from predators. For example, big cats figure toucan figure lion-tailed macaw. Lions and tigers have thick skins and sensitive hearing. The lion-tailed macaw, also called beard ape, lives in the rainforest of Western Ghats. Figure. Its most outstanding features is the silver-white mane, which surrounds the head from the cheeks down to its chin. It is a good climber and spends a major part of its life on the tree. It feeds mainly on fruits. It also eats seeds, young leaves, stems, flowers, and buds. This beard ape also searches for insects under the bark of the trees. Since it is able to get sufficient food on the trees, it rarely comes down on the ground. Another well-known animal of Indian tropical rainforest is the elephant figure. It has adapted to the conditions of rainforest in many remarkable ways. Look at its trunk. It uses it as a nose because of which it has a strong sense of smell. The trunk is also used by it for picking up food. Moreover, its tusks are modified teeth. This can tear the bark of trees that elephant loves to eat. So the elephant is able to handle the competition for food rather well. Large ears of the elephant help it to hear even very soft sounds. They also help the elephant to keep cool in the hot and humid climate of the rainforest. Figure an Indian elephant. Keywords: adaptation, climate, elements of weather, humidity, maximum temperature, migration, minimum temperature, polar region, tropical rainforest, tropical region, weather. What you have learnt, the day-to-day condition of the atmosphere at a place with respect to the temperature, humidity, rainfall, wind speed, etc. is called the weather at that place. The weather is generally not the same on any 2 days and week after week. The maximum temperature of the day occurs generally in the afternoon, while the minimum temperature occurs in the early morning. The times of sunrise and sunset also change during the year. All the changes in the weather are driven by the sun. The average weather pattern taken over a long time, say 25 years, is called the climate of the place. The tropical and the polar regions are the two regions of the earth which have severe climatic conditions. Animals are adapted to the conditions in which they live. The polar regions are very cold throughout the year. The sun does not set for 6 months in a year, and in the other 6 months it does not rise. Animals in the polar region are adapted to the extremely cold climate by having some special characteristics such as white fur, strong sense of smell, a layer of fat under the skin, wide and large paws for swimming and walking, etc. Migration is another means to escape the harsh cold conditions. Because of the hospitable climatic conditions, huge populations of plants and animals are found in the tropical rainforest. Animals in the tropical rainforest are adapted such that they eat different kinds of food to overcome the competition for food and shelter. Some adaptation of animals living in the tropical rainforest include living on the trees, development of strong tails, long and large beak, bright colors, sharp patterns, loud voice, diet of fruits, sensitive hearing, sharp eyesight, thick skin, ability to camouflage in order to protect themselves from predators, etc. Exercises. Do this and comment this. Extending learning projects and activities. Do this and comment this. Did you know rainforests cover about 6% of the Earth's surface, but they have more than half of the animal life and about two-thirds of the flowering plants of the planet. However, much of this life is still unknown to us.